Hey there guys, Alex here, and I know this is terribly late, but I wanted to come on here and respond to Dereck's first thread quickly tonight. As I say, I think this has been up for almost 2 weeks now, so apologies for the lateness, Dereck, but I really enjoyed the question, so I wanted to get my response done today. So yeah, as I say, amazing question. Just to recap what it was that Dereck asked, have you learnt any valuable life lessons from listening to music, or is it just simply a source of entertainment for you? And yeah, amazing question. I had to think quite hard about this one, and I think the first thing that I will say is kind of echoing what other people have said already in their responses. But that is that for me, at the moment, music is so much more than just simply entertainment. I think there will always be that entertainment aspect for me. I mean, I don't think any of us would listen to music, if it wasn't entertaining. I mean that's a massive part of music, and it always will be. But I don't think I'd be sitting here making this video or buying, hundreds of records if music was just simply, a source of entertainment. I think there has to be something more, and there has to be a bigger picture. So yeah, most definitely music is much more than entertainment for me. But if you would have asked me this question, say 2.5, 3 years ago, I think I would have had a very different response. And that's in part due to the music I was being exposed to, of course. I mean, the stuff I was listening to 3 years ago was a million miles away from the stuff I'm listening to now, and obviously that's a massive part of it. But I think also I think I've matured greatly in the last 2 years. I think in the last 2 years I've matured more than I have the previous 10. So it's been an important 2 years for me. I think I've moved on greatly, and I can start to look at music and listen to music in a very different way, and that's been a huge part of my life, and that's kind of brought music to the forefront of my life, and made it a very crucial part of my life. So yeah, most definitely music is more than entertainment for me. And if I was to pick a kind of pivotal moment where I think that all changed, not to be tremendously obvious here, you guys probably guessed I was probably guessing what I'm going to say here, but it has to be discovering Bob Dylan and listening to his songs. From the first time I heard "Blowin' in the Wind," sat there in my English lesson, I was just transfixed, and I was transformed by this person that I was seeing and hearing, and that was most definitely the point at which, like Dereck said, it's almost like that was the point where the light bulb went on, and it was almost like a trigger for my mind, and I could start to look at people and look at the world from a completely different perspective, and one that previously had been alien to me, and I didn't really get before. I'd heard the Beatles and I'd heard Bob Dylan briefly, prior to that, but I didn't really get it. I really didn't understand, what these people were trying to create, I guess. And that was a very important part of my I guess progressing to that next level, and that's where I feel like I am now. I can listen to a Bob Dylan record or a Beatles record, or any of these kind of 60s figureheads that I consider to be some of my favorite artists. I can listen to these records now, and I feel I can gain something from listening to them, and I can pick up on subtle nuances, and I can learn things. And that's a special thing, and as I say, it's been incredibly important to me in the last 2 years, much more so than it used to be. So I think that's the first thing I wanted to put across in this video, is that discovering Dylan and discovering all of this older music has taught me a whole lot, not only about the individuals and the music, but about how to think about things, and how to look at the world, and how to appreciate music. So it's been an incredibly important thing. So briefly here, I just wanted to talk about one album that I feel is kind of epitomizes that whole learning experience from listening to music, and that's this album right here. It's Bob Dylan's Bringing It All Back Home from 1965. Absolute masterpiece, stellar album. And yeah, this is the first album of the so-called Holy Trinity of mid-60s Dylan records, that became so popular, and now obviously are considered legendary, I guess. But yeah, this is probably the least talked about of those three. This one, Highway 61 Revisited, and Blonde on Blonde. It's probably regarded as maybe the least good. But in my opinion, lyrically, this is just unsurpassed. It's an absolute masterpiece. I think, if I was to pick an album lyrically, that I consider to be lyrically perfect, I would say it's this album, because I think Dylan was just good. He was going through a very important time, a very controversial time. He was, of course, incorporating electric instruments into his music for the first time. But I think far beyond that, he was just stepping into creative realms, which I think very, very few other people had been in previously. And the product of that was this record, which was released in January of '65. And just some of the tracks on here, just epitomise that, because I feel like with this record, Dylan is just so brutally honest and straight up, and I don't think he is in some of his other records. I think there's that barrier between the listener and the artist, but on this record I find that there's no holding back. There's only there's the messages that he's preaching on this record are just so honest and so direct, that it just hits you in the face, and as I say, it's like the light bulb going on. So yeah, this is an incredible record. And just to go through a few of the songs on here, She Belongs to Me, first of all, is an amazing song, such a melodic, simple tune, but with some amazing lyrics in it, like she's got everything she needs, she's an artist, she don't look back. Quite simply one of my favourite Bob Dylan lyrics of all time. Something so perfectly simple about that, and so vague almost, that makes it so moving for me to listen to. I don't know why, it just grabs something in me and makes me, it just sends chills down my spine every time I hear it. That's that song. So She Belongs to Me is an amazing song. Then we got songs like Love Minus Zero, Over No Limit, one of my favourite songs on the whole album. Again, some incredible, profound messages in that song. Statues made of matchsticks crumble into one another. My love winks, she does not bother. She knows too much to argue or to judge. Simply one of Dylan's greatest verses. Such a simple message, but it's so profound in what he's trying to say there. Especially that last bit. She knows too much to argue or to judge. It's just, always makes me think about people and about how we function and how we react to things, and maybe what we should try and strive for in the future, I guess. So again, an amazing song with some great lyrics in. Then we got some classic Dylan songs on here, like Mr. Tambourine Man, quite simply one of my favourite Dylan songs of all time. And then Gates of Eden is another classic. But probably my favourite song on the whole album, if I was to pick one, is the 10th song, It's Alright Ma, I'm Only Bleeding. Such a dark, apocalyptic song. It's almost like a whole philosophy in 6 minutes. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever heard. First time hearing that song, it was just like, whoa, there's just so much to take in. I almost had to, I had to listen to it like, probably 5 or 10 times before I actually absorbed, all of the messages that Dylan was portraying there. So, my favourite song on the album, so incredible lyrics like, teachers teach that knowledge weights can lead to $100 plates. Goodness hides behind its gates, but even the President of the United States sometimes must have to stand naked. For me, that just says so much. It says so much about us as people and as a society. And I think, you know, other lyrics kind of follow suit there as well. Like money doesn't talk, it swears. Obscenity, who really cares? Propaganda, all is phony. Again, I think it just says so much about our society, and another great thing about it is that these messages seem to me to be so timeless. I mean, yes, they were incredibly important to the people at the time who heard them, and you know, the 60s was a very, very turbulent time for America and the world. You know, everything was changing, and you know, it was, these lyrics kind of spoke to the younger generation at that time. But I think just as much as they spoke to those people, they speak to our generation today, and I think these messages are just as relevant today and just as applicable as they used to be. So, quite simply, a masterpiece and a timeless record. So yeah, that's bringing it all back home, and I just wanted to talk about this album for a few minutes. But seriously, if you don't have a copy of this, either get a copy on CD or on vinyl. I'm frantically looking around for a copy on vinyl. I just haven't come across one yet, but I'll be sure to snap it up as soon as I see one. But I just wanted to talk about that record, this album, for a few minutes. But yeah, that's pretty much my answer, Dereck. In conclusion, you know, have I learnt any valuable lessons from music? I think without a doubt. I mean, I'm learning from music every single day. I'm picking up on new things, and as I say, it's I think above all else, music has become you know, a crucial part of my life, and I'm not sure where I'd be spiritually and emotionally, you know, without the influence that music has had on me. So that's probably the biggest thing, is that just how big it is in my life and how much time I spend doing it, and listening to it. So yeah, and you know, to top it all off, you know, I think we've proved here in the vinyl community how music can be an amazing way of bringing people together, and it's just unifying. You know, it's incredibly unifying to see all of these people coming together in this community and posting videos, sharing their thoughts, and just sharing all this incredible music. And I think it's radical, and it's amazing. So thanks to everybody who does these videos and you know, shares their thoughts, because it's you know, it's been life-changing for me. So yeah, thank you very much, Dereck, for the question. Incredible question. I'm really enjoying these kind of one question threads. You know, I think it's great to just talk about one topic and really get, you know, deep into it. And yeah, really enjoyed replying to this. Want to come back on and maybe reply to Mr. Hall of Fame's thread. But also I've got 6 or 7 records that I wanted to show that I bought in the last week. So expect to see me back you know, very, very soon. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.